You were told the lie so gently, so often, that you mistook it for love. Work harder, stay later, the money will find you eventually. That was the whisper. It won't. It never planned to. That quiet promise was the whole trick. Right now, while you sit watching this, your hours are already being spent. Not spent by you, by everyone who profits from you staying tired. Look honestly at your week. Tell me where it actually went. It went into someone else's empire, built brick by brick from your time. They call it hustle. A pretty word for slow, smiling self-erasure. You believed effort was the price of wealth. It is not. It never was. Effort without ownership is just obedience that happens to sweat. The man who works the hardest is rarely the man who walks away free. He is merely the most useful. There is a difference they pray you never learn. Every late night you give away, a richer man sleeps a little sounder. Your exhaustion is not a flaw in the system. Your exhaustion is the system. Stop. Feel the hours leaving your open hands like loose, falling coins. You cannot earn your way out of a game designed only to drain you. Not by grinding, not by waiting, not by simply being good enough. The comforting story said, be patient, be loyal, be endlessly diligent. And you were. And it took everything you had and called it growth. Today that story dies, quietly, here, on a candlelit stone floor. Because money never rewards the tired. It rewards only the deliberate. And you have never once been permitted the silence to be deliberate. They kept you reacting, busy, flattered, quietly afraid to ever stop. A busy man asks no dangerous questions. That precisely was the point. So ask one now. Who profits the moment you call all of this normal? Feel that cold drop in your chest. That is the truth, finally arriving. Everything you were taught about wealth was written by the already wealthy. Written to keep you producing forever, never, ever to set you free. For the next 30 minutes, that quiet arrangement between you is over. Sit still. The lie is dead now. Let us count what is actually left. First, the truth you have earned. Your tiredness is real, and it is not weakness. You gave honestly. You showed up. You did exactly what they asked of you. And still the door of wealth stayed shut. So you blamed yourself. Hear this clearly. The fault was never the size of your effort. The fault lives in the hands that learned exactly how to use you. Your openness was not a virtue to them. It was an unlocked door. They flattered the giver in you because givers are simple to harvest. Every yes you handed over freely became a chain you forged yourself. This is the first law of self-respect. Nothing of yours is free by default. Master your time, your wealth, your habits, your health, before any of theirs. Because a man who owns those four cannot be bought, hurried, or starved. Look at how they trained you to despise your own quiet, your own pause. Stillness, to them, is theft, because a still man notices the robbery. Your wandering habits were not random. They were carefully cultivated in you. Each tiny pleasure they sold you returned them 1,000-fold in your hours. Comfort became the cage with the softest bars you never thought to test. And your health, they taught you to spend it like it could be refilled. A broken body cannot guard a fortune. They simply hoped you'd forget that. Every system around you was built to keep you spending the four treasures. Not because they hate you, because your spending is precisely their income. Understand that, and the shame you carry quietly turns into cold, clear sight. Clarity is the first wealth. Without it, every coin you earn leaks away. So we will not beg the door to open. We will stop feeding the wall. You reclaim the four treasures first. Then wealth comes to you, not the reverse. This is not bitterness. Bitterness still hopes they will change. You won't wait. You are not here to win their approval. You are here to stop bleeding. And once a man stops bleeding, he finally has something worth defending. Notice who in your life grows uneasy the moment you begin to keep things. Their discomfort is your compass. It points exactly where your power was hiding. Self-respect is not loud. It is simply the quiet refusal to be spent. From here on, every hour you keep is a coin you secretly mint. Every habit you reclaim is a soldier returning to your own defeated walls. And every ounce of health you guard is another year you refuse to gift away. The world will call this selfish. The world was simply enjoying your generosity. Let them call it what they must. You answer only to your own ledger now. But knowing the trap is not the same as knowing how to walk out. For that you need a teacher the comfortable world tried hard to silence. A man hated by the powerful for the simplest of crimes, telling the truth. They burned his words, exiled his body, and used his name as a slander. Because what he wrote made obedient men dangerous to those who owned them. He did not teach cruelty. He taught accuracy about how power truly behaves. And accuracy to the comfortable has always sounded exactly like a threat. So lean closer. What you are about to hear was never meant for your ears. It was meant for princes. Tonight, it belongs to you instead. Let me introduce the man they spent 5 centuries warning you about. His name was Niccolo Machiavelli. Say it slowly. It still makes the powerful nervous. Florence, 500 years ago, a man who watched power without flinching once. He served the great, he advised them, and then they tortured and exiled him. Stripped of everything, he did the most dangerous thing a man can do. He wrote down, plainly, how power actually works, not how priests pretend it does. Each evening he dressed in his finest robes to sit with the dead and the great. He asked them a single relentless question. How is power truly kept? His answers stripped the comforting paint off every throne in Europe. He understood that men are moved less by love than by fear and self-interest. Not because he was cruel, but because he refused the soothing lie. And here exactly once I will let him speak in his own forbidden words. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few feel what you truly are." Sit with that. Most people only ever meet your surface, never your strategy. The wealthy mastered this long ago. They show a face and keep a furnace. You showed everyone your furnace and wondered why they helped themselves to your fire. Machiavelli is not asking you to become false. He is asking you to become guarded, to know when to reveal, when to withhold, and never to confuse the two. He is the patron saint of men who decided to stop being easy to read. The same logic that keeps a throne will keep your time, your habits, your gold. Power is not noise. Power is the quiet acknowledgement of what you own. And wealth, real wealth, is simply power that has learned to compound in silence. Everything that follows now is his cold logic, translated for your own life. Not to harm the world, to stop the world from quietly harvesting you. 7 principles. Each one a lock the comfortable hoped you'd never find the key to. Take them slowly. A man who rushes mastery only learns how to break things. Each lesson will name a habit they planted, and the discipline that uproots it. By the end, the man watching this will not be the man who began it. Remember, as we begin, we sharpen the blade to guard the man, never to maim the world. We sharpen you so the world stops carving you. Nothing more and nothing less. So light the first candle of the first lesson. The comfortable will hate this part. Your first lesson. There is a tax on your life no collector ever names aloud. It is paid in hours, not coins, and you settle it without ever noticing. Watch your own morning. The day barely begins before strangers claim its first hour. You answer the bell. You answer the letter. You answer everyone except yourself. By dusk you are exhausted. Yet you cannot name one thing that was yours. That hollow tiredness is the receipt for a tax you never agreed to pay. Here is the psychology they rely on. Attention is the only true currency you spend. Every interruption fractures you, and a fractured man can never aim at anything. They profit precisely from your scatter. A focused man is far harder to sell to. So your scattered attention is not your failing. It is their carefully built harvest. A prince guards his treasury with walls. You must guard your hours the very same way. Today, do this one thing. Claim the first hour of your day before anyone else can. No bells, no letters, no requests. 1 hour that belongs to you and your work alone. Then, before sleep, audit the day honestly. Where did each hour actually go? Name the thieves out loud. You cannot fortify a wall you refuse to inspect. Most of your tax is paid in tiny invisible coins, a minute here, a glance there. Stacked across a year, Those minutes are entire seasons handed quietly to strangers. When you finally see the true total, something in you goes very cold and very clear. Good. Cold clarity is the beginning of ownership. Warm men keep getting robbed. From now on, treat access to your hours as a privilege, never a default expectation. The man who controls his own clock has already left the herd behind him. Notice how uneasy people become the moment you guard your time at all. Their unease confirms it. You were funding their day with the hours of your life. Reclaim the first hour, audit the rest, and watch your whole empire quietly begin. Drop this in the comments. My hours are a locked veiled, and mean every word. Your second lesson. Stop performing your life for an audience that never paid admission. You explain yourself constantly. Your choices, your plans, your silences, your worth. Every explanation hands a stranger the blueprint to argue you out of your own life. You think explaining earns understanding. It usually only earns you a longer negotiation. Here is the psychology. People respect what they cannot fully predict or possess. The moment you overshare, you become a solved puzzle. And solved puzzles get shelved. Silence is not weakness here. Silence is simply refusing to feed their appetite. Let them mistake your silence for weakness. Their misjudgment is your hidden armor. Recognize this scene. You justify a decision to someone who was never going to approve. You walked away drained, and they walked away with a map of all your doubts. The discipline is this. Act first, blink rarely, and let results speak in your place. Today, choose one decision you would normally defend, and simply make it unannounced. When asked why, answer with 3 words or fewer. Then let the silence sit. The silence will feel unbearable to you at first. Hold it. The discomfort is the training. Watch how the room shifts. The one who needs to explain least holds the most power. Self-respect is measured not by how loudly you defend yourself, but by how little you must. The man who needs no witnesses to feel real has stolen back his own authority. Notice who panics when you go quiet. They relied on your need to be understood. Their panic is the sound of a leash they thought they held, going slack in their hands. You do not owe the world a running commentary on the rebuilding of your own house. Build behind the wall. Let them see only the finished gate when you are ready. The quietest man in the room is rarely the weakest. He is usually the most certain. Starve the audience of your reactions, and you starve them of their power over you. Let your work roar so loudly that your mouth can finally afford to rest. Type below, I stopped performing for the room, and feel the stage go dark. Your third lesson. No fortune is safe behind a body you have left in ruins. They taught you to trade your body for ambition, as if vitality could be rebought. Recognize the scene. You skip rest to chase more, calling collapse a kind of dedication. Here is the psychology. A depleted man is a compliant man, easy to lead and to use. Exhaustion dulls your judgment, and dull judgment is exactly what predators prefer. Your strength is not vanity. It is the wall behind which every other treasure sits. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. And nowhere is that truer than here. Guarding your health is not weakness or indulgence. It is the most basic act of command. Today, do one simple thing. Defend your sleep the way a king defends his border. Move your body daily, not to impress a soul, but to keep your own walls standing. Feed yourself like something worth keeping, not like a machine you intend to discard. And when your body says stop, listen. For its oldest, most loyal advisor you own. The world will frame your rest as laziness. The world simply wants your walls down. An exhausted man cannot defend his time, his coin, or his good name from anyone. So your vitality is not separate from your wealth. It is the very ground it stands on. Picture the man you become with a guarded body. Steady hands, clear eyes, slow to break. That man negotiates from strength, because he is not secretly begging his body to last. Notice who profits when you run yourself into the ground for their gain alone. They will never reimburse the years, so you must stop offering them as currency. Treat your health as the throne. Everything else is merely furniture in the room. Tend the body first. and the body will carry your ambitions far past their breaking point. Neglect it, and one day the richest version of you will have no one left to enjoy it. Choose differently tonight. Guard the flame in your chest as fiercely as the gold in your vault. Because the first fortress was never your house, your name, or your money. It was your flesh. Comment this: my body is the first wall they must pass, and guard it like one. Your fourth lesson: the cage that holds you has no lock, only a loop you keep choosing. Each small comfort feels harmless alone, yet together they quietly run your entire day. Recognize it. You reach for the easy thing again, in the exact moment greatness called. Here is the psychology. Comfort rewards you instantly, and instant rewards rewire the will. They engineered these loops deliberately because a comfortable man rarely revolts. Your habits were not entirely your idea. Many were installed while you weren't looking. But a loop you can finally see is a loop you have already begun to break. The discipline is not to crush every comfort, but to choose which ones you allow. Today, find the one comfort that costs you the most and interrupt it exactly once. Replace it in that very moment with one small act your future self would thank you for. It will feel absurdly small. It is meant to. Empires are built from unglamorous bricks. Do it again tomorrow, and the day after. Repetition is how you recarve your own will. Soon the new path feels natural and the old loop sits abandoned, gathering quiet dust. Understand, you are not fighting weakness. You are simply retraining a very obedient animal. Be patient with that animal, but never let it choose the direction of the whole life. Notice who benefits each time you choose the loop over the work that would free you. Your stagnation is somebody's steady income. Your discipline is their quiet alarm. Every loop you break returns a stolen hour, a sharpened mind, and a small piece of pride. Wealth is rarely one giant leap. It is 10,000 loops broken on 10,000 ordinary days. The comfortable man stays warm and stays the same. The deliberate man gets cold and gets free. You were not built to obey a loop. You simply hadn't yet noticed you were inside one. Now you have noticed, and a man who sees his cage rarely agrees to stay polite within it. Break one loop today. Just one. Let your obedient animal learn who actually rules the house. Tomorrow you will not be more talented, but you can already choose to be more deliberate. Break one comfort loop today, and the others begin to loosen their grip on you. The first crack in the wall is always the one that frees the man behind it. Discomfort you choose on purpose is the only door out of the cage that your own ease quietly built around you. Your fifth lesson: loud money attracts thieves, but quiet money quietly multiplies. You were taught to display wealth because your display is somebody else's marketplace. Recognize it. The moment a little arrives, you feel the urge to let the world see it. Here is the psychology. Visible wealth invites attacks and envy, requests, and quiet sabotage. A prince who flaunts his treasury simply hands his enemies a precise map of the walls. The discipline is to let your wealth grow in shadow, while your habits stay plain and lean. Today, take one coin you would have spent on appearances and put it where it compounds. Compounding is the closest thing to magic the patient man will ever truly possess. It rewards the man who can resist touching the pile far more than the man who earns the most. Most men dismantle their fortune one small indulgence at a time and call it living well. You will build differently. You will let the pile grow boring, silent, and enormous. Spend on what builds: tools, knowledge, leverage, and starve what merely impresses. Every coin has a question. Will you make me your servant or your fleeting amusement? Treat each coin as a soldier and an army gathers. Treat it as a guest and it leaves. Notice who urges you loudest to spend, to celebrate, to show that you have finally made it. They cheer your spending because your spending was always destined to become their savings. Let them wonder why you stay plain. Your plainness is the disguise your treasury wears. Real power feels no need to announce itself. It simply waits, fed and silent, behind the wall. The man with a quiet treasury sleeps well, because no one knows what there is to take. Build in silence. Spend on leverage. Hide the pile. And let time do the heavy lifting. Time is the one ally that never tires, never betrays, and never asks for a share. Most men spend their whole lives renting comfort. You will quietly purchase your freedom. Freedom is not a feeling you chase. It is a balance you accumulate, coin by silent coin. Start the quiet treasury today, and let no one hear the first coin fall into the dark, right where they can see it. I build in silency. I arrive thunder. Your sixth lesson: the most dangerous men are not the fastest. They are the most patient. You were trained to want everything immediately because impatient men are easy to herd. Recognize it. You abandon a slow-growing path the moment a faster, shinier one appears. Here is the psychology. Urgency overrides judgment, and overridden judgment is profitable. Every act now you have ever heard was designed to keep you from thinking clearly. The predator does the opposite. He waits unseen until the right moment delivers itself. Patience is not passive. It is aggression that has learned the value of perfect timing. Today, take one decision you feel pressured to rush and deliberately let it wait a day. Watch how much of the so-called urgency simply evaporates the instant you refuse to run. The opportunities worth having rarely vanish. They simply test who is calm enough to wait. Slowness chosen deliberately is a kind of power the hurried will never understand. Plant what takes years to ripen, and you will harvest in seasons others gave up waiting for. Recognize the long game. Most quit one step before the ground was about to reward them. You will not be most of them. You will outlast the noise until the noise outlasts self. Notice who keeps trying to hurry you. They profit from the corners your haste cuts off. When you stop rushing, you stop being so wonderfully easy to push exactly where they want. The patient man is terrifying precisely because he cannot be baited, rushed, or panicked. He sets his own clock, and the whole table slowly learns to wait on his decision instead. Practice waiting in small things, and you will be unbreakable in the large ones. Let the impatient burn bright and burn out. You intend to still be standing at the end. Patience turns ordinary effort into compounding force the way a slow river carves stone. You do not need to be faster than them. You only need to refuse to stop before they do. The future quietly belongs to the man who can wait without ever losing his nerve. Choose one thing today to wait on with intention. Let the waiting itself become your weapon. Leave this below. I waited longer than they could, because that is how this is won. The final lesson is the hardest. Stop narrating your life to people who are only watching. Every move you announce becomes a move they can prepare for, copy, or quietly sabotage. You have done it your whole life. You told them the goal, and the goal got harder. You confused being seen with being supported. They are almost never the same thing. The psychology is simple. An audience is invested in your story, not in your victory. They will cheer your effort and quietly prefer the version of you that never arrives. So you stop performing the climb. You simply climb, and you let the silence do the lifting. Burning the witnesses does not mean cruelty. It means removing their seat at your table. Let them find out what you built only when it is finished and far too solid to stop. Reputation is not what you say about yourself. It is the silence that follows what you do. The man who explains himself constantly is asking permission he was never required to seek. You owe no running commentary. Your results will speak in a language no one can argue with. Watch how much lighter your work becomes when no one is grading each step you take. The crowd you fed with updates was never an audience. It was a committee you obeyed. Dismiss the committee. There is one vote that decides your life, and it has always been yours. This is the control the philosopher understood. Govern the story by governing what is shown. Appear less. Mean more. Let your rare words land like coins dropped on marble. Starting today, choose one ambition and tell absolutely no one until it is real. Feed it in private, water it in silence. Let the proof of it be the first they hear. When it finally stands, you will not need to announce it. It will announce you. The witnesses who doubted you will become the first to claim they always knew. Let them. You are no longer building for their applause. You build because the work is yours. This is the whole architecture. your time, your silence, your body, your habits, your patience, your name. Guard all of it. Show only what serves you. Owe the version of you that quit absolutely nothing. Leave this below. I owe the old me nothing. And let that be the line you cross today. So here you stand, at the end of the old life and the first raw hour of the next one. Everything before this was rehearsal. This is where the man you were quietly becoming finally steps into the light. Everything you gave away for free, your hours, your peace, your voice, you take back now. The old you spent everything and called it generosity. The new you collects and calls it justice. Feel it in your chest. The weight you carried was never yours. You simply forgot to set it down. They counted on your patience running out before your power arrived. It didn't. You won. Time, silence, flesh, habit, wealth, patience, name, 7 walls, and you built everyone. You were the leak in your own fortune. Now, you are the dam that holds the entire river. Let them keep underestimating the quiet man. That is the last mistake they will make about you. The man who controls his hours, his mouth, and his name cannot be governed by anyone else. This is not arrogance. It is the calm of a man who finally stopped handing himself away. Tomorrow they will see a different man and never quite understand when the change occurred. It occurred here, in this half hour, in the moment you decided you were done being easy to take from. The wealth follows the man who is no longer leaking. It always has. It was waiting for you to seal the cracks. Stand up inside your own life. Take the chair at the head of your own table. It was always yours. The old you is finished, left behind in the ashes of every hour he gave away for nothing. The one reading these walls of fire is the one who walks out of here, sharper, quieter, and impossible to drain. I will not ask you to subscribe. A man who guards his time decides for himself what is worth returning to. If these walls were built for you, you already know whether you want the next ones. That choice is yours alone. Stay only if the silence here makes you sharper. Leave if it doesn't. Either way, you owe me nothing. But understand this, the men who needed convincing to grow are not the men this was made for. So leave me with one answer below. What did you give away for free for years, and what will it cost to take it back?